Any guesses on days until kickoff?
81, 80 or 81.
We're actually under 80, 78 days.
Wow.
78 days until kickoff on September 4th. It's an early one this year. And yeah, we're here on a Wednesday night, June 18th. Kind of talking, answering questions if you guys got them, talking potentially a little redraft rankings as we're those are starting to form more and more, and whatever else comes up. I do have a little trivia question. There's one receiver who has led his team in receiving yards for 6 straight years, and he's going for number 7 this year. Any guesses? And honestly, I think this hasn't happened. This has only happened once since 2010.
Mike Evans.
Their team. It's not Mike Evans because Godwin had a couple years in there where he led them. I'll give you time to think about that, but he's going for a 7th straight. We haven't had a receiver lead his team for 7 straight years since before 2010. So I know Jerry Rice did it like the record 15 times or something crazy like that. And this is, by the way, this is 6 straight years he's done it to start his career. NFC wide receiver. But if anyone's out there and has some questions in the chat, we got Killer Gorilla here. He wants to look at our latest Dynasty startup. Our Dynasty startup team. And
I know who it is.
Who?
Davante Adams.
Nope. He's been on well, let's see. No. Because Davante Adams, well, maybe that's true though. Because I guess did he lead the Jets last year?
I don't think so.
He did not lead the Jets, no. It's not DJ Moore. It's a good guess though. Although I should double check that. I was thinking one team. Actually, I guess DJ Moore would probably potentially count in there. Although I think in 2022, did he lead it? I'm going to double check that. So if that's true, then there's multiple receivers. It's not the guy I was thinking of, but Danny says DJ Moore. He might have led it in 2022. The Panthers weren't great. Guy I was thinking of was Terry McLaurin, just because he's done it with one team. So let's see here. DJ Moore, did he do it in 2022? Oh, he did. Okay. So yeah, and DJ Moore. So Danny wins. But yeah, Terry McLaurin, he's going for 7 straight years, leading the Commanders in receiving yards. So, but let's pull up that. We actually never revisited the Dynasty startup draft that we had. You weren't in it, but in our other leagues here. And we did it live, so you guys were watching live. But we can kind of check it out here a little bit. And yeah, keep the questions coming if you have them. Thoughts, concerns, anything really. Buy low, sell highs, stashes, all of that. So Killer Gorilla in particular wants to see his team here. So this is a Superflex league. It's a PPR 0.1 per carry. There actually is return yardage bonus stuff as well, which I kind of forgot about. I forget the exact. I think it's 1 point for every 25 or 20 return yards. And it's a 1.75 tight end premium start 12. So Killer Gorilla is looking at CJ Stroud, Jackson Dart, Anthony Richardson, and Will Howard. What are you thinking about quarterback room to start off with? Stroud, Dart, Richardson, Howard. It kind of all relies on Richardson, really, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I think we're expecting, I know what I'm expecting, not much, so I don't know if the guy's going to overcome or not, Dart, he's probably not going to start the season. Stroud, he's okay.
Yeah.
Will Howard, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
next
It kind of
year.
all hinges on it all kind of falls on A Rich here, I think. If he hits, then I think you're looking good in that quarterback room. We'll get to Mark's question here. He says he traded Amarion Hampton and Najee Harris for Cam Ward and Josh Jacobs. How do you like that trade?
I think that's not a bad trade. So I guess he's getting Ward and Josh Jacobs.
Just traded the 102 and Najee Harris. Yeah, that's how I read it. Let us know, Mark, if that's
Yeah,
not right.
so
But
no, that's
yeah,
good. I think it's all right.
yeah,
I think Josh Jacobs is projected to have a pretty good year, and
yeah. I mean, you assume. I don't see any reason to think that Josh Jacobs can't outproduce Amarion Hampton for the next probably 2 seasons, let's say. I think he definitely outproduces him this year. And then we'll see in 2026, but I wouldn't be shocked over the next 2 years. Josh Jacobs is better. And then you get Cam Ward. It is a super flex league. Najee, I think, could be decent this year, better than we're expecting, but I don't expect it to be anything really better than like a top 24 running back. I don't expect him. He'd have to have Hampton get hurt for him, in my opinion, to be top 15, or they just have to run the hell out of the ball. So, yeah, I like it. I don't mind. Honestly, I don't mind taking Ward at the 102 in rookie drafts. I know that's a little bit unpopular opinion, but I don't think it takes much. All we need is Ward to have a good year in his rookie year, and people are going to potentially be saying he should have been the 102 pretty easily. So yeah, I like that, Mark. Yeah, Russell Wilson said. So we were actually looking at to your point, Killer Gorilla, and it's either he needs to suck or the Giants need to suck before they put in Dart. And you look at their schedule. We were just looking at this to start the year, and it's pretty tough. They get the Commanders, Cowboys, Chiefs, Chargers to start their season. Then they get the Saints, and then they get the Eagles, Broncos, Eagles. So that's their first 8 games there. You could easily see 1-7 coming up. So, and if that's the case, I mean, probably even before that, they're going to move to Jackson Dart pretty quickly. Running back room, I really like. It's Saquon Barkley, Quinshon Judkins, Christian McCaffrey, Tony Pollard, Isaac Guerrero, LaQuint Allen. So I really like that running back room. I mean, you potentially have like the 3 most valuable non-quarterbacks on your team. We'll get to your wide receivers in a minute, but Barkley and McCaffrey could be the top 2 players in fantasy this coming year, besides quarterbacks. So, and then you have Pollard as well. You have Judkins for some youth. You have McCaffrey's backup in Guerrero. So, like, you're kind of guaranteed San Francisco starting running back unless it's a complete disaster. So, any disagreements there with those running backs?
No, it's about the party line there.
Yeah. What are you expecting from Judkins this year? Like, would you expect, I don't know, 1,200 total yards? Are you expecting more?
Cleveland, right? Yeah.
John Judkins, Cleveland. Yeah.
And there's still a couple of guys there.
We got Jerome Ford still there.
Yeah.
They drafted Dylan Sampson as well.
Right.
So, I mean, we assume it's going to be Judkins, but
yeah. I'd say 1,000 to 1,100 yards total, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go as high as 1,200.
Yeah, I was thinking like, can you get to 900 rushing? Yeah, 1,200 is going to be tough. I think it's all going to depend. Like, historically, Stefanski and the Browns have not. They use multiple running backs. Like, there's very few years in Stefanski's kind of tenure here that he hasn't use multiple running backs, even during Nick Chubb's like prime, where he was maybe the best pure rusher, or definitely top 5 in the league, best pure rusher in the NFL. You go look at his snap share; he was playing 52% of the snaps, and Kareem Hunt was involved. So it just depends if they have someone there. Maybe that's Ford, maybe that's Sampson. But yeah, I like that running back room a lot. Then for wide receivers, he goes Jefferson, and then he doesn't draft another one until round 9, but he does hammer wide receiver pretty heavy here. He gets Cortland Sutton, Besh, Debo, Tillman, Kyle Manor, Hollywood Brown, Jordan Whittington, then a bunch of other kind of dart throws down here. Maybe a couple guys like Thielen that could produce in a 12-team start 12, even Slayton. But how do you like that? He has Jefferson kind of anchoring the wide receiver room, and then he should have some.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jefferson's awesome, but like he should have some good starters here in Sutton, Debo, and then again, it's only 2 wide receivers starting, but it's a bunch of flexes. So, I think that's a solid room. You obviously had to go back-to-back quarterback here, in this league. And, you took a lot of running backs early. So those are going to be your big hitters. And then you kind of rely on a guy like Besh or Tillman, maybe Hollywood Brown, like one of those guys to hopefully be a top 30 guy, which is, again, valuable in a league like this. He has a question here. Would you have taken Josh Jacobs over Quinshon Judkins for Dynasty?
Absolutely.
You would have.
I
No
would.
question. Where did Jacobs go here?
It's a dynasty league, though, right? Age is the only factor, I guess.
Yeah, so Jacobs went 603. I could go either way, really. I think with my running back room as Saquon and McCaffrey, I don't mind. There's kind of 2 ways you can go with it. You can say I need to go all in. Again, you didn't know you were getting McCaffrey yet when you took Judkins, I guess. But when you look back on it, you say, okay, maybe had I known I was going to get McCaffrey, I should have gone Jacobs. I should have gone Jacobs to potentially, just kind of go all in this year. But I don't mind having Judkins there with Barkley and McCaffrey because you have some youth, after those guys are potentially gone, and, we'll see a couple of years or something. So I don't mind it. I can go either way there with Josh Jacobs. So I guess looking at this team, it's tough. It's tough because you are going to need a guy like Richardson to hit, but you can always make a trade. Yeah, honestly, you can go either way. I think I would have gone for Judkins personally, but I don't argue against taking Jacobs there. So, I need to send you. I've been really busy lately, and I've gotten back to a couple people. Yeah, I'll have to send you a QB trade here. So, yeah, I mean, again, you're kind of banking on a guy like hopefully Besh, Tillman, maybe Ioman or probably not, Hollywood Brown, someone like that to kind of be like, okay, just give me like top 30 production or something like that, and I think you'll be okay there. And then his tight ends, he has Laporta and Freiermuth, and then Tyler Higbee. All 3 of those guys, I think, are going to be pretty good this year.
It should be.
All 3 of these guys. I think Laporta is obviously going to be good. Pat Freiermuth, I think, is a little underrated right now. He could be the number 2 target easily for the Steelers. And just look at what Tyler Conklin did with Aaron Rodgers last year. And to me, that's like a baseline. That's like kind of worst case scenario that Pat Freiermuth is going to give you, which was 50 catches, close to 500 yards, I think, and probably like 4 or 5 touchdowns. So that's like baseline. That's streamable tight end, and then I think it could be even more because obviously that team had Adams and Wilson, 2 target hogs. Now you have DK Metcalf, who's never been a big target hog in his career. I think he's going to have a really good year this year, but he's never been a huge target hog. So I could see Freiermuth having like a 700 yard, 70 catch year, and then we'll see about the touchdowns, So And also Higbee. I know we're all expecting Terrence Ferguson to take over, but Tyler Higbee in that offense is, again, kind of a baseline tight end. And again, what I mean by that is, are you giving me the 50 catches, 500 yards? So obviously last year he was hurt most of the year, so that went out the window. And yeah, Caesar says send him one too. Yeah, I went full on QB horde here, and I didn't do it purposely. Did not do it purposely. But it's just kind of how it fell to me. But I have Hurts, May, Kyler, Penix as 4 of my 5 picks. Tua, Darnold, I added later on. I got Rodgers. This was before he signed. And then I took a couple backups there. Caesar is here, so we can talk a little bit about Caesar's team. He has Justin Fields, Tyler Shuck, Mason Rudolph, Quinn Ewers, Dylan Gabriel, and Deshaun Watson. So he's definitely going to need to add a quarterback. Now, remember, Caesar was he waited until round 7 in a Superflex league to take his first quarterback, and he got a great first one in Justin Fields. I think he's going to be really good this year. Tyler Shuck, we'll see if he becomes the starter. You got Mason Rudolph. Maybe Rodgers is 41 years old. Maybe he gets hurt. Who knows about Dylan Gabriel? So, but because he waited, he has Bijan Robinson and Achane leading his running back room. He gets Amon-Ra St. Brown, T. Higgins, Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers, Jerry Jeudy, Khalil Shakir. All of these guys are going to be big players in a 12-team start 12. So
if he can get a little production out of Tyler Shuck, he's got to win the job first. We're kind of unknown on that. And if, he can play okay, which means 15 to 18 points a game. And then, with the other stuff you got going on there that you just talked about, you might be all right. But
yeah, still going to need to add a QB3.
Yes, definitely.
So, ideally you want Shuck as your QB3 at going into this year. That
would be ideal.
Yeah. So, we got time. We'll definitely be making some trades here. And then, he got Mark Andrews, which I love the value of Mark Andrews this year. I don't understand why people are so out on Mark Andrews. It's kind of crazy to me. I know he dropped the pass in the playoff game. Geez,
yeah.
I mean, we have Isaiah Likely ranked 5 spots ahead of him in Dynasty.
No, that's not good. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't understand it. The guy is really damn good. He's going to be 30 years old this year, which is fine. He led the tight end. He led tight ends in touchdowns last year, and that's kind of his thing. Like, that's not like a a one-off thing. Like, he catches touchdowns. So I love the value there. Jatavian Sanders, Chigga Okonkwo, Taysom Hill. I like the Marvin Mims pick late. He got some running backs, Dowdle, Ollie Gordon, Jerome Ford. Those guys, that group of guys should give you something. Zach Charbonnet. So, you just kind of need to get that QB in there, and I think you're looking pretty good. So, what about – oh, no, never mind. I thought I saw something, but I didn't. Yeah, we could talk Rodgers. He's definitely an easier one to get. So I kind of told people where I'm at with some of these guys. Like Drake May is going to be really hard to get off from my team, because I'm valuing him more than he should be, and I acknowledge that. But I think he's going to be valued around this where I'm valuing him currently, which is kind of like right after, Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. I think Drake May is going to be in that conversation as like the QB 5 or 6, right around where, Burrow and Mahomes are going. And so I fully acknowledge that's an overvalue, but that's just where I think he's going to be next year because of his rushing ability. So, and I could be completely wrong about that. So it's going to be really hard to get May from me, just because I don't think people are going to want to pay that price. But the other guys for sure, Darnold, A-Rod. I mean, I'm always willing to move anyone, but I fully acknowledge that I'm overvaluing May here. Also interested in Penix and moving off of Penix or Tua as well. So any of them really. If anyone else in this league is here, we can kind of run over your team too. Mark says he traded away Brees Hall, Braylon Allen, and DK Metcalf for Derrick Henry and Rashee Rice, same format. So Superflex tight end premium is 1 point. So you traded Brees Hall, Braylon Allen, and Metcalf for Henry and Rice. I think I
be a little reach if you ask me.
Yeah.
So Braylon Allen.
We could throw Braylon Allen out.
Yes, throw him out. So it's Brees Hall and Metcalf. But if we're going to go on age, Brees Hall is not a spring chicken anymore. Derrick Henry, I don't know. Everybody's expecting him to grenade here because of age. But, yeah, it's pretty close. A lot closer than when I first look at it at first.
Yeah, I would assume Henry outproduces Brees Hall this year. And the Rice for Metcalf is an interesting one because I personally think Metcalf is going to have a huge year. And, he could still be good for another 2-3 years. But that quarterback situation is completely up in the air. So I don't mind that one, like the Rice for Metcalf. So, yeah, I think I lean the Brees Hall side. I also think Brees Hall is going to have a pretty good year, but I don't think it's a terrible one, especially if I'm kind of going in to win a little bit. By the way, you mentioned that Brees Hall is not a spring chicken. How old do you think Brees Hall is?
23.
Oh, okay. 24.
Okay.
I thought you were thinking he was like 26 or something because you said.
When we're talking running backs, when you start hitting that 4th, 5th year now and things, things start happening. I know he had a major injury one year, so the guy's got to have a lot of usage and stuff like that. So,
yeah, he's younger than RJ Harvey, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah. Bubba's here. Bubba, remind me of your team name again. I can never remember. I'm terrible at remembering those things. Are you? I think I can find out. I think you have it under your actual sleeper name here. But yeah, we'll check that out for sure. But yeah, I definitely like the other trade a lot more there, Mark. But again, I don't think that's a terrible one. I think if Rashee Rice comes back, you are Maddie. If Rashee Rice, keep him coming, Mark. No worries. If Rashee Rice really comes back, because he was on fire to start the year. Now he got hurt very early on, so we don't know if that would have lasted. But we assume how he ended his rookie year, how he started his second year. He was on pace for he was going to have a huge year.
And he has a possible suspension this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not super worried about that unless it's half the season. But, I'm more worried about it for redraft, I guess I should say. So, if Rice can come back and be normal, then I think you could easily win this trade because Henry's going to give you, league winning potential. And if Rashee Rice is kind of what, he was supposed to be last year, then you could definitely win that trade. That's right. You are Maddie. Maddie's team, he has Josh Allen, Geno Smith, and then Trey Lance. Because I went all in on quarterback, I think I counted, there's maybe one other team that has 3 solidified QB starters. So it's going to be interesting how this all plays out and stuff. But Josh Allen, Geno Smith, and then Trey Lance there. Obviously, those 2 quarterbacks are going to be very good for you, I think. Obviously, Josh Allen is. I think Geno Smith's going to be solid. You just find that QB3, and you should be good there. What do you think of Brees Hall, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Swift, Devin Neal, Brian Robinson, Tyler Algier, J.K. Dobbins? That's a pretty stacked running back room. Yeah. What do you think about Dobbins to the Broncos? Do you think he's going to be the RB. He's kind of going to be the Mark Ingram to Alvin Kamara, like Alvin Kamara being RJ Harvey and Marky. I'm just saying in terms of the type of work they get, not necessarily the production.
Yeah. So, you know, he looked pretty good with the Chargers last year until he got hurt. He hurt his knee, missed 3 or 4 games or something. But you know, he was kind of the alpha dog running back there for the Chargers for at least 2/3 of the year. It seemed like. So I think he's got a little gas in the tank, and I think guys like Sean Payton know how to use them.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of easy to forget is that last year was his first year back off of an Achilles injury. And we always talk about these major injuries. We kind of want to go 2 years out, you know. But last year, it was his first year back. He averaged 4.6 yards per attempt. He caught over 30 passes in 13 games. So he was averaging 2.5 catches a game, which is great. And by the way, Sean Payton is going to throw the hell out of the ball to his running backs. He just does. It doesn't matter if you're the receiving back or not. You're going to get if you're playing 50% of the snaps, you're going to catch 35, 40 passes potentially, even as the non-receiving back. So, you know, it's easy to forget that. Oh yeah, he tore his Achilles the year before because like he played well last year. You know, he wasn't healthy. He didn't play the whole year, which is always going to be a thing with Dobbins until we see it. But he was the RB 18 in points per game in PPR, RB 24 in total points. He was a pleasant surprise, and I think he's going to get used. I think he's better than Estime. So that running back room is really nice. Obviously, you headline it with your top 3 guys and Breece Hall, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara. I think Swift is going to have a good year. Brian Robinson's probably going to do what he did last year, which is like RB3 flex guy worthy. We talked about Dobbins already. And then you have receivers, Drake London, Rashee Rice, Chris Olave, DK Metcalf, Jaden Reed, Calvin Ridley, Restrepo, Moody. So, yeah, I mean, London, Rice, Olave, Metcalf is a pretty nice 4 right there, especially if Rice is back healthy. Who would you have taken, Drake London or Nico Collins or Marvin Harrison out of those 3?
Oh, boy.
You can add A.J. Brown and McConkey in there too. But because all those guys, London went ahead of all those guys.
Yeah. I don't know. In Atlanta, it's kind of slim pickings on the for wide receivers. I know Mooney, you know, they were talking on XM radio the other day. They kind of go through everybody's lineups and they grade players, and they happen to be talking about the Atlanta wide receivers. Mm-hmm. They said after London and Mooney and I forgot who the third guy is.
McLeod.
Yeah, there was like nobody else.
Not really, yeah.
So if London stays healthy, he's probably going to get the ball a lot. Like he did last year. He got a lot. He got the ball a lot.
Yeah, 160 targets last year. And by the way, I'm pretty sure I need to double check if Penix played 2 or 3 games at the end there. But with Michael Penix, it was 3 games. London had, we talked about this, he had 39 targets with Michael Penix in 3 games. One of those was an 18-target game, so we don't expect that to happen. But even if he gives you 10 targets a game, that's insane, right? Obviously. So, yeah, I can see the argument. I personally think I would have gone Nico, Marvin, and A.J. Brown over Drake London, but I don't disagree with taking Drake London over those guys. They're kind of all in that tier for me. I'm just a little bit curious of what his upside is, Drake London. Like, is he ever going to have like a 1,500-yard season type of season? And we'll see. I mean, he was playing with shell of Kirk Cousins there for a while. So I think that's a good receiving room. I think guys like Jaden Reed and Ridley are still good values and can be very productive, especially in a 12-team start 12. And then his tight ends, he has Schultz, Juwan Johnson, Ertz, Noah Fant, Greg Dulcich. So all right there. I mean, I think you're going to get low end tight end one numbers from either Schultz or Ertz. Right. So one of those guys, if not both of them, are going to be low end tight end one type of production. Not a lot of upside with this tight end room, like a young guy that you could see breaking out or anything like that. But you have production there. So I think that's fine, especially since you waited till round 15. And he did mention his tight end position is hurting, was going to take Gesicki, but I took him. Yeah. I just like the value of Gesicki as well. I think he's going to catch 60, 70 passes. So, but yeah, overall, those are three really good teams. I think the theme of this, because one team, myself, I went quarterback heavy. We had T-Zane go pretty tight end heavy in the middle of the draft. I always say it as Skinnem. He went kind of tight end heavy, 4 within his first 11 picks. A lot of teams have a lot of good wide receivers and running backs, and they just need to fill in the gaps with the quarterback and tight end. So we got about, what do we say, 78 days until you have to start a lineup. So, yeah. How about this one? Mark says, I traded away Stroud, Mixon, Otten, and 225 fourths for Purdy, Kittle, and Chase Brown. So Stroud versus Purdy. Who are you taking there? Stroud versus Purdy.
Wow, that's kind of a coin flip a little bit. I don't see anything that probably Stroud.
Yeah, I would still lean Stroud, but like you said, it is pretty close. I think there's a little bit more upside with Stroud. Like, can he have, like, I think Purdy, you're kind of looking at what he did a couple of years ago there, which is really good. 30 touchdowns, 4,300 yards. I think that's where we're going to see Purdy kind of land in his good years. So I think Stroud potentially could reach, a 4,500, 35 touchdown season. There's more possibility, I should say. I don't think it's likely, but so I'll lean Stroud there. And then you have Mixon, Otten, and 224 fourths, or Kittle and Chase Brown. I think I'm taking Kittle and Chase Brown there pretty easily for Joe Mixon, Kate Otten, 225 fourths. The fourths, I can, they're fine. They're picks, but give me Kittle and Chase Brown. They're pretty, like, I'll take Chase Brown over Mixon just because I think Chase Brown over the next 2 or 3 years is going to be better. I think Mixon could be better next year. And then definitely Kittle over Otten's not even close. And it is a tight end premium. So I think the difference between Kittle and Chase Brown is enough for, to make up the difference between Stroud and Purdy for me. So I would lean the Purdy, Kittle, Chase Brown side there. I think it's a pretty solid trade though, but I think I like the Purdy, Kittle, Chase Brown there, like by a decent amount.
Yeah, I think I'd probably lean that direction too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the Kittle there. I mean, in a tight end premium,
right,
is going to be pretty awesome. So, Caesar says he traded J.J. McCarthy, Geno, Aaron Jones for the 101. So J.J. McCarthy, Geno, and Aaron Jones for the 101 and another super flex league. Interesting. Is that an overpay or is that fine?
Wow. 2 starting quarterbacks,
Aaron Jones, which, I think Aaron Jones could still be good, but there's also a real possibility that he's just kind of nothing anymore.
Left with Milroe,
Penix and Fields.
So
he has Jalen Milroe, Michael Penix, and Justin Fields as his quarterbacks.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
Two
he
starting
still had,
quarterbacks, yeah.
yeah. I could see this not working out, but I also could very easily see it working out. Like Genty being awesome, right? And then Gino just kind of being like, you know, QB 17 or something. JJ McCarthy, who there's a lot of question marks there. Like he wasn't this prolific passer in college. That's just not the offense they ran. So we don't really know what he can do. I think he's an athlete. I think he can move, but we don't know what kind of passing numbers he's going to put up. This is an interesting one. I think I would have felt slightly better if I had a QB3 that I could for sure rely on. And again, you can find that. Can I find a Rodgers? Can I find who's another older quarterback that's starting? I mean, I was going to say Flacco, but I don't know how much you're going to get out of him. But yeah, can I find like a guy like Aaron Rodgers? Can I find? Why can't I load my quarterbacks here? A Tua on the cheap. Can I get a Sam Darnold on the cheap? Can I get a Stafford on the cheap? Right, like one of those guys. It was an auction league. Yeah, 230 or no, I get the thinking for sure. Like I can easily see this work out, but I can also see it where like, what if Aaron Jones gives you another really good year, right? What if Gino becomes a top 15, top, QB 13, 14 over the next couple of years? And then what if McCarthy is like the real deal who, all we've seen with the Vikings and Kevin O'Connell is like really good quarterback play. So that's kind of what we're all basing it off of. So I could see it going both ways. Like McCarthy could, I don't think Gino and Aaron Jones are not going to increase in value. Maybe Gino slightly. Aaron Jones is not. His value is only going to continue to go down, except for maybe midseason. But like the McCarthy part of it is like is the real question here. So I think that's what you had to do to get Genty. So I don't mind it. I could see this trade ending up going both ways, and depending on what the rest of your team looks like, if your team is like legit and all you really need after getting Genty is to like plug in a QB3 and you're looking like you have a really good roster, then I really don't mind it at all, because you're getting Fields and Penix all year if they're healthy. So like you have solidified QB1, QB2 in terms of like they're going to play. So so if you're saying team is legit, then like find that QB3 just of that list of guys that we read off, an Aaron Rodgers, a Tua who's kind of undervalued right now in my opinion, a Sam Darnold, a Matthew Stafford, even like a Daniel Jones. I think you can get some starts out of him and he can be your QB3. So
definitely for Daniel Jones. I think there's going to be some surprise from Daniel Jones this year. It's not going to be perfect, but I think he's, he's at a fresh start. If he doesn't look any better, then shame on me. I'm wrong, but I think both him and Fields are going to have, I'm just calling them elevated years.
Yeah.
Fantasy wise.
Colston Loveland is going to miss the time until training camp starts, and then it's still not sure. How much does that worry you? Obviously, Dynasty is different, but like year one prospects, like if a rookie, especially a tight end, that's a tough position to really produce as a rookie. I know we've seen it the last several years, but like historically, it's a hard position to produce. Like, does that worry you for year one production of Loveland? If he misses, let's say he misses 50%, 60% of training camp.
Yeah, Oh, training camp. I think it's a little bit of a concern. And if you drafted him high, which most people did because where he was drafted in the regular NFL draft, you were gonna expect some production. That shoulder injury's been there since the end of his college football career, so they certainly
Mhm.
didn't talk a lot about it, and stuff like that. And so we'll see. If he's playing week 1 of the preseason, I don't think I'd worry about it.
Mhm.
If he's still on the pup list, halfway through training camp, I would worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes
I
you.
see you next year.
It's one of those things where like we always question like why is this team, they have DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, Cole Kmet, they draft Loveland, why did they draft Luther Burden, like they have and then like one or two guys get hurt and you're like, oh yeah, really good that they drafted those guys because now you still have DJ Moore and Roma Dunze. It's just you see why teams don't, we think they're okay because they have two top receivers and a good tight end. It's like, no, that's not how teams think, man. Like they need that depth,
I
Um,
I don't know if they do this, and it'd be kind of crazy. You have to be as a team, you have to be pretty comfortable, as the coach and GM and all that stuff where you're at. But I think some teams draft for next year.
oh, no, they all do, yeah.
For slightly, they're gonna go like, okay, this guy he's not gonna do shit for me this year, or I'm gonna get, it's a building process, I guess, So if you think, honestly, and we get sucked into it fantasy wise because we have rookie drafts and we think, oh my God, Amarian Hampton's going to come in and rush for 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. It's like, yeah, probably not. I don't know.
Yeah, no, they definitely draft for year 2, year 3. This is a 4 or 5 year window they're getting these guys. So Mark, he's posting his team here. He's in a 16 team start 9. So that's the equivalent of a 12 team start 12. So this is a very deep league. So it's 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 3 flexes. So yeah, you're starting 144 players. 144 players are being started each and every week. So this is a deep team. And this is his team here. He has Dak and Herbert. There's 1 quarterback. Keep that in mind. So he's set at quarterback with Dak and Herbert. He has Kyron, Chuba, Kenneth Walker, David Montgomery. That's fantastic. When David Montgomery is like your 4th best running back, like you're doing really well because he could be your 2nd best running back pretty easily. And then he has Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra, Jesus, Lad McConkey, and then Downs, Mim, Besh, and he has Laporta, Warren, and Joke. Holy crap!
Give the dude the trophy right now.
You're starting either Dak or Herbert. You're starting probably all 4 of those guys because you have 2 running backs, 2 flexes. So you're starting all 4 of those guys. You're starting Chase and Amon-Ra. You're also starting McConkey. That's your starting roster.
And you said Herbert. This is a deep league?
Yeah.
Yeah, who do you say sucks on that team?
Yeah,
nobody.
Yeah, that's insane. Like he's starting Kyron, Hubbard, Chuba Hubbard, Kenneth Walker, Montgomery, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra, McConkey. Still has guys like Downs on his bench. I think Downs is going to have a kind of a sneaky good year this year.
I think Mims is going to have possibly, a good year.
Yeah, so he'll be quite boom or bust. Just go look at like some of the slot numbers. Like Daniel Jones, like peppers the slot. So if it is Daniel Jones starting for the Colts, Josh Downs, I think, is going to have a really good year, like a very good year, I should say. So, and then you have Laporta. You have Besh as well. Laporta, Warren, and Joker. Yeah, that is like a hand you the trophy. I think what I would try and do with this team. No, I guess you don't really need to. I would like in a 1 quarterback. I really want a Lamar Jackson, a Josh Allen, a Jaden Daniels, a Jalen Hurts. Can I get one of those guys somehow? I know it's going to be hard, but He said he took over this team as an orphan with only Burrow, Bowers, and picks. Everything else I had was kind of so. Wait, that means you took over this team last year because you have Bowers on the team, or like this? I guess.
So
I guess.
he had to make all these trades to get all those people.
Wait, so you did this in one off season? I guess because if it's an orphan, then you would have taken over you would have had this team at the end of this last year, right? Because Bowers is on the team. If I kind of understand that, right? So did you do this in all one off season? That's insane if you did. Yeah, that's a really, really good team. Really good team. No, that's pretty fantastic. I was gonna say,
I think I'd be too scared to do anything with this team.
Yeah,
Just see how it plays out this year, I guess.
Yeah. If it's a this offseason, if it's a non-tight end premium, Mark, I think I would be looking to get value out of one of my tight ends, and whoever's the most valuable. I assume that's a Laporta, but it could be Tyler Warren. So, because you have three of them, and if it's a non-tight end premium, whereas tight ends and non-tight end premium just really don't make as much of a difference, I'd be looking to get some value out of those guys. Can I package, Warren with someone and get another huge piece, whether that's a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver? But you kind of have three huge pieces at the receiver. So yeah, can I package Tyler Warren and Kenneth Walker, or Tyler Warren and Montgomery, and get a big piece in return there? Whether again it's one of those quarterbacks or another wide receiver or another, it doesn't really matter what position, just and we're talking guys the top tier guys. So like a Nico Collins, obviously the Chases and Jeffersons and Bijans and Gibbs of the world, but guys like Nico Collins, Brian Thomas is in there. Jonathan Taylor, Bucky Irving, Achane. Okay, so it is tight end premium. Okay, I still would be okay shopping one of those guys because you have three of them. I know you can flex those guys too. If it's a 1 point, I assume it's a PPR and then a 2 point per reception tight end. So I wouldn't, keep that in mind. But you have three of them there. Will someone kind of overpay you for one of them? And I assume that would be Laporta or Tyler Warren. So, shop it around and see what you get, and then of course post it in the Discord, which I'm going to leave the link here in case anyone watching is not in it. I'm going to leave the link here in the live chat. As always, like and subscribe. We'll stick around for another 10 minutes or so. But yeah, I'll join the Discord and post your questions in there. We're going to be probably starting up. I'm going to do an announcement because Brian said he would do one more Dynasty League, but as a best ball. So I'm going to do an announcement. We're going to see if we can get 12 people together for a best ball one. But we're also going to start probably in July, putting together some redraft leagues. So I know we talk a lot of Dynasty. We also talk redraft on this channel, and redraft is very important to Dynasty, so they kind of go hand in hand. And I personally like to play both because I think it's a lot of fun, and you can make up for some of the mistakes you made in Dynasty. You say, oh yeah, I was kind of out on this guy. Let me draft him on my redraft team now.
A little more forgiving.
Yeah, a little bit more forgiving. Although when the one thing that sucks about redraft is if you could be out, 10 weeks in and you're just like, well, I guess I'm done, but that's when you go back into Dynasty and start making it. So yeah, we're going to put together some listener leagues for redraft soon, which is going to be a lot of fun. We'll probably be doing those drafts in August. So yeah, we'll talk. If you guys, again, keep the questions coming. We're going to talk a little redraft rankings here. I'm putting together mine currently. I'm kind of doing it, statting people out and stuff. There's a couple tiers of guys that when I look at it, I think it's kind of interesting. One of them is this Bucky Irving Chase Brown, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, Brees Hall, Kyron Williams. So RB8 here. This is according to this is just on Fantasy Pros. They put together 48 experts consensus ADP or draft rankings. I guess it's not ADP, but anyways, RB8 to RB13 here. Bucky Irving leads the way, and then you have Chase Brown, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, Brees Hall, and Kyron. What do you think about that tier? I have a little something about me just having Chase Brown ahead of guys like Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams even. You can argue Brees Hall. It feels a little strange to me. Like which way you going, you're on the clock. That means you're picking, I don't know, you're picking wherever those guys come out. Let's just say you're on the clock. All those guys are available. Who you taking in redraft PPR?
For my first running back?
It doesn't matter. It's probably going to be either your second running back or your first, and you drafted a wide receiver, in the first round. So you're on the clock and you're sitting there. You're going to take a running back. You're going to take Bucky Irving, Chase Brown, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, Brees Hall, Kyron Williams. Who are you taking there?
Probably Josh Jacobs.
Interesting. Any reasons?
He's a workhorse. He catches the ball. He's proven. And that's followed very closely by Jonathan Taylor for me.
If Daniel Jones is the starter all year, does that make you more excited about Jonathan Taylor or less?
I don't know if that sways the.
Doesn't sway
I don't know if that moves the needle or not for me on that. I guess I'm just trying to think why it would, and I'm not sure if I.
I think mostly just because goal line stuff. I don't think Daniel Jones. I think Anthony Richardson could have double-digit rushing touchdowns, and if he plays all year, and I don't think Daniel Jones is. He'll have a handful, but he's not going to have double-digit.
Daniel Jones is no slouch on running the ball, but he's not.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking more goal line.
Right? No, he's not. He didn't. We've seen in the past he's not a goal line guy or anything like that. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a little far-reaching for me as far as Jonathan Taylor. It's it's a legit thing, but I just try to simplify things a little better and not overthink them. But
who do you think has the most catches out of this group? Bucky, Chase Brown, Jacobs, JT, Hall, and Kyron? Because I think it comes down to the first two, which is why I think they're maybe ranked a little bit higher. But Bucky and Chase Brown, Bucky had 50 last year. Chase Brown, he probably had close to 50 last year as well. Let's see. He had 54. So I think it's one of those two guys.
He was Chase Brown was splitting. He was splitting time early with Zach Moss. So
yeah,
that's a pretty significant number, a good stat to pay attention to. Chase Brown is a workhorse. I know that. I don't know who else is in the Bengals backfield, but maybe it wouldn't matter.
They got Samaje Perine. They got still Zach Moss is still there. They drafted Taj Brooks day 3 of the NFL draft.
Yeah.
So not a whole lot that's going to be taken away. I think people are looking at Chase Brown and they're just saying, look at what Mixon did with the Bengals. That's what Chase Brown's going to do. That's kind of what he did last year. Even though he wasn't the starter. I think it's an interesting. Sean also says Josh Jacobs, so he agrees with you. My question is, I know it's PPR, and so maybe I'm thinking a little bit. We usually play half PPR, a little bit more. Which let's even see how that changes it. So that changes it to Kyron moves up a lot in half PPR, because I was going to say Kyron becomes this. Oh no, Jonathan Taylor moves up a lot. Chase Brown falls a bit. Because I was going to say, why not? What's wrong with Kyron? And Kyron's been the best running back in fantasy. If you combine the last 2 years, no running back has been better than Kyron Williams. None. And so, like, what are we afraid of with Kyron Williams? Do we think Blake Corum's going to take work? Do we think Jarquez Hunter is going to take work? Do you think he's going to get hurt? Like, what is it that we're worried about? Because you go look at the Rams under McVay, whether it was Todd Gurley, whether it was Cam Akers for a stretch there, Sony Michel for a stretch there in one of those years in the second half of the season. He uses the hell out of his number one running back. Sony Michel was playing 90% of the snaps when he was kind of hot there to end one of those years with the Rams. It wasn't a long stretch or anything, but he was pretty hot there. And then, we all thought it was going to, they drafted Blake Corum. Something's going to happen here. Kyron Williams played 86.7% of the snaps last year. He did not have a game under 75% of his he had one game under 75% of snaps played. And so I'm questioning myself and saying, why is Kyron not there? He's proven he's on a really good offense. I'm not super worried about the guys behind him. I like the guys behind him if he gets hurt. I guess it's just if we're worried about him getting hurt, is that it? I don't know. He is a little bit smaller. I think it's just like
he doesn't run like he's small though.
He doesn't, and maybe that's a problem, but he's not going to catch a lot of balls. Jonathan Taylor's not going to catch a lot of balls. I don't think Brees with Justin Fields is going to catch a lot of balls. Josh Jacobs is probably not going to catch a lot of balls unless they throw a little bit more, but he only caught like 35 last year. Yeah, 36 last year. So I think I'm actually leaning Jonathan Taylor over all these guys, but I think Kyron's pretty close. I can make the argument for any of them. I really like Bucky. I think Chase Brown's going to be good, but I think I'm more on like the JT, Brees, Kyron side, and as well as Jacobs over those other guys, Bucky and Chase Brown. I don't know. I think it's an interesting tier of guys. So, and then on the wide receiver side of things, again, you're sitting there, you're on the clock. There was an interesting group of guys going here. I have to see overall, actually. Let me check the overall. But I think it was right around where Marvin Harrison was going. Okay, so you're sitting there. You have, let's say, DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison, Cortland Sutton, Devonta Smith on the board. Where are you going there? So DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison, Cortland Sutton, and Devonta Smith. Where are you going with those guys? You're taking a receiver. This is probably your wide receiver 2. Maybe it's your wide receiver 3.
I think I'd go Marvin. Then, wow.
DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton, Devonta Smith.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, let me ask you. You said Marvin. Do you think most upside is with Marvin?
Yeah.
Does it change if it's your wide receiver 2 versus your wide receiver 3 at all?
Not really.
Okay. So Marvin.
Then probably Smith and Sutton.
And then DJ Moore?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I go Marvin as well. I think I'm okay with that. I do think it changes a little bit. Like I'm at least a little bit. I don't know if it changes my actual pick, but I am a little bit more hesitant. Like if it's my wide receiver 3 versus my wide receiver 2, because like I think Marvin is a bit of a risk, obviously, because like we haven't seen it from him, but we're banking on. It's not that we do need to get out of our minds that he was a bust last year, because he wasn't a bust. He had almost 900 yards receiving and 8 touchdowns. The problem is he did all of that in like most of that in like 2 games. Not quite that extreme, but he had probably over close to 30%, 25% of his yards in one game. So, but it is a little bit of more of a risk. And Devonta Smith is kind of that boom bust type of player. I'm much more comfortable with Devonta Smith as my wide receiver 3 than I am as my wide receiver 2, because I know I'm going to get some games in there where he gives me 2 for 14, 4 for 29, and then I'm going to get 11 for 101 touchdown, or 7 for 80 and a touchdown or something. I do think I lean Marvin as well there, though. Cortland Sutton's interesting because, man, he's shot up the board, huh? Like, absolutely.
Yeah, he's had a little revitalization, I think. He was seemed like he was going to get shipped out of town, and Judy got shipped out of town, and got a legitimate quarterback, I guess, Bo Nix and coach, and things got a little better.
Interesting that we're like kind of ignoring DJ Moore a little bit, because like we expect improvement with Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, year 2. Is it just the weapons there? There's a little bit too many weapons to be fully confident in him, or is it the coach? Is it not the coach, the quarterback? What are we worried about there with DJ Moore, in your opinion? Because he had 98 catches last year. That's his career high in catches.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it just seems slightly, we're expecting a little bit more out of him, and it hasn't happened. I guess I didn't realize. I would have said he had about 80 catches last year, but
I was a little surprised he had 98 as well. He didn't even hit 1,000 yards, which is kind of crazy with 98 catches. Yeah, I agree with you. I was a little surprised about that as well. And then the last one here before we take off is a tier of tight ends here. So you're sitting on the clock. You want to draft someone. You got David Njoku, you're drafting a tight end, Njoku, Jonnu Smith, Mark Andrews. I guess you can throw Kelsey in there. Hell, let's throw this 6 through 10. Evan Ingram, Travis Kelsey, David Njoku, Jonnu Smith, Mark Andrews. It is PPR, so I think that matters a little bit more for tight ends. Who you going between Evan Ingram, Travis Kelsey, David Njoku, Jonnu Smith, Mark Andrews?
I kind of hate to say it, but I'd probably go Kelsey.
You're not worried about a slowdown?
Well, he had a supposed slowdown last year, and he caught like 85 passes.
97.
97?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. I know his yards were down. It was only 800 and some, and touchdowns, but I think the number of catches is repeatable.
Mm-hmm.
Jonnu, I don't know. Andrews would probably be my number 2. Njoku, man, just too
with Flacco.
Yeah, I guess. But
if I told you Flacco was playing basically 80%, at least 80% of the fantasy regular season, so that's let's just say 9 or 10 weeks.
Yeah, we've seen what that connection was, so that would be hard to shy away from.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting one. I think my strategy would be, if I really want to take a tight end, generally I wait on even longer on tight ends, but I'm gonna, if I can, and this really works if you're in the middle of the draft, is you kind of wait until the end of that tier is coming. Don't take the top of it. Take the Andrews or whoever's going to fall. Don't take the first one. Take the last one, because I can see it kind of going any way. You can make an argument for Evan Ingram, who Last time we saw him healthy for a full year, the dude almost broke the tight end catch record in a single season. He had 114 catches, and this is PPR. Travis Kelce, I don't need to say much more. David Njoku with Flacco could be awesome. Jonnu Smith had an amazing year last year, and there's a chance that I heard something about how they want to get the ball faster out of Tua's hands, and it's like the dude was already at like the top of the league in terms of like ball out of his hands, so it's like, that kind of style of offense could be here to stay. That favors Jonnu Smith. And what if Tyreek Hill is just kind of over the hill? No pun intended. And then Mark Andrews, was still like tight end 6 last year, even though, we thought he was a bust. So I think it's very interesting. I think I lean Mark Andrews, though. I think we forget that he came off a broken leg the year before, and we've seen that affect players for a solid year. And it was pretty late in the year that he broke his leg. He played 10 games, so it was November-ish when he broke his leg in 2023. He also got into a car accident in training camp, so that kind of messed up as well. And I think that's part of the reason why he started off so slow. He was still like tight end 7 in points per game. This is what he had the first 4 weeks of the season: 6 catches, no touchdowns, 65 yards in 4 weeks. And he was still tight end 7 that year. So I'm sure if you take it from week 5 on, he was obviously much better. He didn't have a huge game, never had a huge game, but he was catching touchdowns and he was consistently giving you 56 yards. So I think I'm going to go Andrews there, but I can argue any of them. So take the bottom of the tier, in my opinion. So does any of these other guys sneak in there for you? Tucker Kraft, Ferguson, Kincaid, or is it they're clearly a tier below?
Yeah, maybe. Well, Ferguson, I don't know. No, not really.
Yeah. I mean, there's some guys I'm going to be targeting for sure.
I know Freiermuth he's gonna get a lot of love, I think, but I don't know.
I mean, yeah, Freiermuth's a guy I'm targeting. Hunter Henry, you go look at his numbers with when Drake May was playing, he was actually really damn good. So there's some guys I'm definitely going to be targeting. Oh, Kyle Pitts, really down it. Tight end 20, Kyle Pitts. Anyways, we're going to have more. I'm going to start putting together the rankings, so we'll have more kind of hard, definitive stuff to look at. But we appreciate everyone that stopped in. Sean, Mark.
I got a quick trivia question.
Yeah.
Who drives 101 miles an hour in a 60-mile-an-hour zone?
A lot of NFL players.
Huh?
A lot of NFL players, it seems
Yeah.
like. But, yeah, Shedeur Sanders, man. What are you doing? What are you doing? If there's no cars there, I think I'm okay with it. But
there was a cop car there, so.
Yeah, I guess so. But anyways, we appreciate everyone. We'll be live again Saturday morning. Join us. We'll try and get together maybe we should start doing a redraft, mock draft. We'll see. Appreciate everyone, and be on the lookout for some videos. Join our Discord, all that fun stuff. See you guys on Saturday.